So, the 2019 NFL season is underway, and I thought I would share my true, unbiased predictions of how the entire season will go. To create this video, I predicted each individual game using playoffpredictors.com, and I will leave a link in the description. Anyways, on to the predictions. First off, I'll start in the AFC with the Dolphins. Let me just tell you, this Miami Dolphins team is bad. I predict a 3-13 record, coming in last in the AFC East. I do think there will be bright spots on this team, with cornerback Xavier Howard winning team MVP and wide receiver Preston Williams being a breakout player on offense. Also, I predict that Josh Rosen shows the Dolphins enough for them to entrench him as the starting quarterback of the future. Next up, the New York Jets will show improvement. However, a lack of depth will cause them to only go 7-9, finishing third in the AFC East. I think Sam Darnold will break out in Adam Gase's offense, and he will also be the team's MVP. This won't be a great season, but the future is bright for the Jets. The Bills will be a surprise team, led to a 10-6 record by a breakout second-year quarterback Josh Allen. I think Allen has all the tools and support on this team, and if he performs well, the Bills will be in a great position to win a lot of games. The New England Patriots will once again do New England Patriots things. I believe they will finish first in the AFC East with a 12-4 record, led by Tom Brady. I think Sony Michel will break out and prove to be one of the better backs in the AFC, as the Patriots continue their dynasty. Now onto the Denver Broncos, who I think can be a pesky team this year. They will not be an easy team to beat, with a great defense led by Von Miller and a decent offense led by breakout receiver Courtland Sutton. However, a lack of talent on the offensive side of the ball will bring them down to a 7-9 record. The Oakland Raiders will be another surprise team, improving to an 8-8 record led by Derek Carr, who will break out in the second year of John Gruden's offense. The Raiders' defense, however, is not that talented, and that's the main reason I don't see them getting any more wins. The Los Angeles Chargers, I think, will have a disappointing season after the losses of Derwin James and quite possibly Melvin Gordon. But this team is still really talented, so I have them going 9-7. Phillip Rivers will be this team's MVP, and Mike Williams will break out after stepping into Tyrell Williams' role from a season ago. And now for the Kansas City Chiefs. I believe the Chiefs have only gotten better from last year, and that could be scary for the AFC. I have them going 13-3, led by former MVP Patrick Mahomes. I think Damian Williams will break out and separate himself from LaShawn McCoy as this team's lead running back, helping the offense to get back to its 2018 form. Next up is the Cincinnati Bengals, who will have a terrible year. Geno Atkins is the best player on the team, however his play will not be enough to keep the Bengals from losing, and I predict a 3-13 record for them. On the bright side, John Ross finally breaks out, and with his terrible season comes a high draft pick. The Baltimore Ravens, I think, will also disappoint. With all those losses on defense and the lack of weapons for Lamar Jackson to throw to, I can't see the Ravens doing much better than 6-10. However, I do believe Lamar Jackson will break out and show that he can be this team's franchise quarterback. The Pittsburgh Steelers will return to the playoffs this year with a 9-7 record. I think Juju Smith-Schuster will repeat as this team's MVP, and receiver James Washington will also show out as the receiver opposite Smith-Schuster. The losses of Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell won't actually hurt the Steelers after all. Next, I believe the Cleveland Browns will live up to the hype, and Baker Mayfield will lead this team to an 11-5 record. There is too much talent on both sides of the ball for the Browns to not perform well, and I think they will win the AFC North for the first time in franchise history. The Titans, however, will be another team that underperforms, and I believe a lack of identity on offense will lead them to a 4-12 record. I think the defense can still perform well with Kevin Byard and Harold Landry balling out, but I think this offense really shrinks the potential of this team. In third place of the AFC South, I have the Texans going 6-10. I just have a bad feeling about this Houston team. I think they lack talent and depth at too many positions to have sustained success in this league. I do think Deshaun Watson and Duke Johnson Jr. will form a dangerous duo, along with the always incredible DeAndre Hopkins, but I think the defense will disappoint in a critical year for head coach Bill O'Brien. The Indianapolis Colts may have lost Andrew Luck, however I think they can still get a winning record led by Jacoby Brissett. Indianapolis has so much star power on both sides of the ball, and I think the Colts will go 9-7, despite the loss of Luck. And the final team in the AFC is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now the Jags are an interesting team. After finishing last in the division in 2018, I think they will overcome their offensive issues and go 11-5 to win the AFC South. I think Jalen Ramsey will be the team MVP, and wide receiver D.D. Westbrook will be a breakout player on a revived Jaguars team. Now onto the NFC. First up is the Detroit Lions. I think the Lions have a lot of good players, but in an ultra-competitive NFC, I see them going 4-12. I think Kenny Golladay will prove to be an extremely good receiver, and Damon Harrison will lead a fantastic defensive line, but I can't justify giving the Lions many more wins than this. Next, the Minnesota Vikings will have another disappointing season. I think this is a talented team, however they are in one of the toughest divisions in the league, and I see them going 8-8. I think Danielle Hunter and Dalvin Cook will be big bright spots in Minnesota, however I don't know if Kirk Cousins will be able to win the big games this year. I think the Green Bay Packers will be one of the most improved teams this year, and they will finish 11-5. Aaron Rodgers will return to form, and Aaron Jones will become the team's workhorse back, as the Packers succeed under head coach Matt LaFleur. The Chicago Bears will perform well once again, with an 11-5 record and winning the NFC North for the second straight year. I think Khalil Mack will easily win the team MVP, however Mitchell Trubisky will break out after a bumpy start. The Giants, on the other hand, will have an awful season. I see them going only 2-14, with the only bright spots being Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones. I think the Giants will be stubborn and will refuse to start Daniel Jones until late in the season, even if Eli Manning is struggling. But on the bright side, this allows them to get the number 1 overall pick in the 2020 draft. The Redskins will also struggle, and I only see them going 4-12. I think Ryan Kerrigan will help the defense to be somewhat successful, and Darius Geis will show out as the lead back, but I can't see the Redskins doing very well this year. I see the Cowboys coming in second in the NFC East with a 9-7 record, led by Dak Prescott and breakout star Michael Gallup. This is another very talented team that I think may disappoint due to a tough schedule. Plus, I don't know if the Cowboys are going to be able to extend both Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper, so they may be in trouble after this season. Next up, I believe the Philadelphia Eagles will be a dominant team. I think Carson Wentz will lead the Eagles to a 13-3 record, which puts them first in the NFC. I also think Miles Sanders will break out and lead this team in carries in an incredible season for Philly. The Carolina Panthers will have a pretty bad season due to a lack of proven talent on both sides of the ball. I have them going 6-10 with Cam Newton coming back strong and Curtis Samuel breaking out as the team's number 1 receiver. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers will also disappoint. However, I think the offense will be one of the best in the league. I think Jameis Winston will prove himself to be a good starting quarterback, and Chris Godwin will have a great breakout season. Next, I think the Atlanta Falcons will have a bounce-back year and finish with an 11-5 record. Julio Jones and Isaiah Oliver will be the 2 team leaders in a fantastic season that puts the Falcons in second place in the NFC South. In New Orleans, I have the Saints going 12-4, led by the seemingly immortal Drew Brees. I also think edge rusher Marcus Davenport will break out and form one of the most dominant pass-rushing duos alongside Cameron Jordan. The Saints will get a first-round bye in the playoffs after a great year. Next up, I have the 49ers finishing 3-13. I know a lot of people are predicting the 49ers to be a surprise team, but there are too many question marks on this roster for me. I think Mike McGlinchey and Fred Warner will play well, but there are not many other bright spots on this roster. The Cardinals, I believe, will go 4-12, led by breakout rookie Kyler Murray. I think Murray is a perfect fit for Cliff Kingsbury's scheme. However, I can't see the Cardinals winning too many games this year, with the lack of talent on both offense and defense. I see the Seahawks going 11-5 and finishing in second in the NFC West, after a breakout season by both Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf. I think the defense can come together to form one of the best in the league, and if the offense can stay healthy, they should be good as well. And finally, I see the Los Angeles Rams winning the NFC West with a 12-4 record. I think Aaron Donald will continue his dominance in the NFC, and rookie running back Darrell Henderson will exceed as a backup for Todd Gurley. And with that, we're on to the playoffs. The first round of the playoffs would be Jaguars versus Bills, and I think Jacksonville is able to stuff Josh Allen and the Bills' offense as they move on to the Divisional Round. Next up is Steelers versus Browns, where I think the Browns pretty comfortably defeat Pittsburgh with a great offensive performance. Then comes the Rams versus Falcons, where I have the Rams winning after a close, high-scoring game. And last in the wild card is Bears versus Packers, where I see Chicago narrowly escaping with a win, after both defenses suffocate the opposing team. First in the divisional round is Chiefs versus Jaguars, where I see the Chiefs' dominant offense tearing apart the Jaguars' defense in a blowout win. Next up is the Patriots versus Browns, which is an intriguing matchup, complete with a fourth-quarter comeback by Tom Brady to help the Patriots come out on top. In the NFC, we have the Eagles versus the Bears, and the Eagles' offense is able to expose the Bears' defense in a high-scoring Philadelphia win. And finally is the Saints versus the Rams, where the Saints get their revenge for the 2018 NFC Championship game by defeating the Rams in a thriller. Then, in the AFC Championship, the Patriots and Chiefs square off for the second straight year. I think the Patriots' defense should be able to stifle the Chiefs' offense, and the Pats would come out on top to go to their fourth straight Super Bowl. In the NFC Championship, the Eagles and Saints match up in a shootout between two explosive offenses. In the end, I think Drew Brees is able to take down the Eagles as the Saints make it to Super Bowl 54. Before the Super Bowl matchup, I'd like to go over my predictions for the AP awards this season. First up, I think Kyler Murray will win Offensive Rookie of the Year after proving to be great in Cliff Kingsbury's offense. I think Defensive Rookie of the Year will go to Josh Allen after he fights up the depth chart into a starting job in Jacksonville. Offensive Player of the Year will go to Saquon Barkley after he is the best running back in the league for the Giants. Defensive Player of the Year will be awarded to Khalil Mack after he is able to lead the Chicago Bears back to the playoffs with his dominant pass rush. Le'Veon Bell wins Comeback Player of the Year after a really good season with the Jets. And finally, the MVP goes to Drew Brees, who finally wins the award after so many historic seasons. Now, back to the Super Bowl. Saints versus Patriots. I think both of these teams would be very evenly matched, and we would be in store for a very entertaining game. Overall, though, I see the Patriots winning the big game. This team is just so talented, especially with the addition of Antonio Brown. I think they would be able to overpower the Saints' defense, and Tom Brady will win his 7th Super Bowl. So there you have it. Those are my predictions for the entire 2019 NFL season. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment who you think will win the Super Bowl this year. Anyways, thanks for watching.